Attention passengers. This is your co-pilot speaking. Your pilot is black mind, so you are not going blind and there is no power failure. You are merely experiencing the immense blackness of his proximity, and when you hear his voice, you and the cabin will get even darker than you are currently. We will be cruising at the speed equal to light, because the one other thing that travels equally fast is darkness. Your loved ones awaiting your arrival may not recognize you at first sight. This is normal. Simply tell them about the pilot, and they will understand. We will taxi to the runway now, so please buckle up and prepare for a high-speed departure. Thank you for choosing Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. We hope you keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Justice forever.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Shout out to BGS, man, that explanation was on point, and I don't want to take a long time with this one, but I want you guys to realize something that BGS got me to realize. When he explains one thing and I think about it, I usually come to understand something else, and the same thing happens with Reverend Brother Pastor Deacon Dr. Edward Allen Anderson when he does this. When he stated that sisters are kind of trying to replace Zaddy as our lynchers and our murderers for stepping out, it made me realize that sisters want to do it for a completely different reason. See, even back in the day, Zaddy really didn't do a whole lot to stop us from getting with other non-white women if we ever met up with them. Now, a lot of times we were in the southeastern United States in rural settings, and so most of the women were white or black, and maybe there was some Native Americans still left, depending on where you lived. And if there were, they didn't really trip on one of us getting with one of them. But what did wind up being the case is that if, of course, you tried to get with one of them white women's, it was over for you. And that was true. And string you up. We all know that. Meanwhile, Sapphire was not even sneaking off, really. Kind of sneaking off with Zaddy, and they bump uglies. And of course, then Zaddy's wife, Becky, and Karen Amber would get upset about this, and they get jealous, and then they would come and say to one of us, listen, if you don't give me what I want, I'm gonna scream. So you can risk dying, or I'm gonna get you killed right now. It's which one's it gonna be? And that's how they usually get their taste of chocolate. And then, of course, Sapphire would look and say, well, wait a minute, was you with that white woman? Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna let this leak. But wasn't you with Zaddy? So, that's fine. But you can't be with that white woman. I feel the way he does about you being with that white woman, even though I don't really want you anyway, even though I'm with him. No, I'm going to uphold that double standard. Sisters have enjoyed this sexual monopoly they've had over black men. I know that. But I also want to point this out. I can now see this from Zaddy's angle. In other words, I can understand what Zaddy's issue is. See, Sapphire's looking at Zaddy like, okay, you're not doing enough to lynch these guys when I bring them or call your attention to some of them for you to take them out and kill them. You're leaving them alive, or you're letting them off easy. We saw that in the courtroom that time when the sister that's a DA was arguing with the judge like, oh my God, you're going to let this N-word off easy? He needs a stiffer sentence. She was shocked. This is not what she expected from her arrangement with Zaddy. I'm bringing you this N-word and I'm showing you what he did, and you gonna let him off easy? You supposed to throw the book at this N-word, this nappy-headed, broad-nosed, big-lip N-word. And you gonna let him off, massa? Zaddy's looking at her today and he's saying, you know, I realize my grandfather gave your grandmother orders. My father gave your mother orders. They carried them out. I realize that. Today is a new day, and I did not give you the same orders, and you were carrying them out without me even asking and wondering why it is that I'm not so zealous about stringing them up for you. Not only has he decided that he's not going to be your attack dog, Sapphire, I'm not going to be anymore. You don't get to go to him and say to him, well, you need to rise up and revolt against Massa, and then run back to me and say, they's plotting on you, Massa. You don't get to do that no more. That's what today's Zaddy is saying. Today's Zaddy is looking at her and he's saying, I don't even know where to get these face masks with Confederate battle flag emblems on them, and here you are wearing them just to tick off your man, who's actually fought against my dad and grandfather on your behalf. Now, maybe I don't like Soul Brother. Maybe I do. It's up to, well, that's an individual thing. But by the same token, you are a traitor to him, and that's disgusting. Why would I put you over? Why would I put you over anybody? If it's going to be all that, why would I do that? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and evict you more than anybody else, because you don't get to live rent free forever, especially the way you've been talking about them. Yeah, you know what? I am going to go ahead and start locking you up in prison for long stretches at a time. Just like my dad and granddad did to his dad and granddad. I'm going to lock you up for that same length of time because you trifling. And by the way, you know what? You're never going to be like Karen, Becky, and Amber to me. I don't even like Karen, Becky, and Amber that much because they betrayed me and I conquered the world. Well, dad and granddad conquered the world for mom and grandmom, and now I stand to inherit everything that he got from the conquest, and Karen, Becky, and Amber have the guts to look at me and tell me, no, you provide, and then you go sit on that corner and watch me get dug out by Soul Brother. You have to pay, he gets to play. She's pretty much doing the same thing. It's just her criteria is he's got to be a soul brother. Your criteria is he's got to be the worst soul brother around. What's the difference? You're both traitors. He learned from me to go get these passports and bounce. And as a matter of fact, if there's anything for which I'll be upset with him, it'll be that when I go to Thailand and the Philippines, the same woman is looking at me like, well, how much are you bringing to the table? Not what are you bringing, but how much are you bringing to the table, is looking at him and saying, oh, I see what you're bringing to the table. I got to pay again. She looks at him and wants to play. That's what's going on in Southeast Asia. And then when I go to China and Korea to get one of them, or Japan, okay, well, they'll give me a chance too, but then I got to sit there and listen to them badmouth their own men that I look at as being intelligent and industrious because they're the model minority in America. And then I go over there, get one of them, and I got to listen to them talk about how lucky they are to have me. It's the same thing with you. Well, if I give one of you a shot, you're going to sit up and tell me about how bad Soul Brother is, how lucky you are to be with me. And even if I agree with you, I don't want to hear you talk bad about your own. It's disgusting. I prefer my racism hidden, thank you very much, and you're open with it. You're going to expose my racism. Maybe if I really want someone else to say what I'm thinking, then I will give you a chance. See, that's Zaddy's perspective, all this that I just told you. That tells me what their relationship is coming to. Now, this is a point of tension between them and contention. I'm not going to sit up and tell you in this recording how we can exploit it because that would involve a long brainstorm, and I don't have time for that right now. It's time for me to go and say the prayer. Got some stuff I got to do. I did sign a contract for a new job. I'm going to see if they accept, because actually they got to sign it. So I'm going to see if they accept, see what comes out of it. But if I have time, I'm still going to run this on the side, and I'm still asking the subs for about 3. Yeah, I'm asking subs now for about 3 US apiece, because that would put me at put me in a situation in which I can start a business. And as I've stated, when I'm able to say and disclose where I am, I don't mind helping some of those who decide to repatriate there to adjust, because this is something that we're going to need to do. I've heard of blockchain technology being used to regulate cryptocurrencies that do not belong to governments. Well, likewise, we're going to need blockchain technology to do two things. And one of them is to help each other to adjust to different environments in different places. My goal is to put this together in about a year and a half. To actually go and relocate to the third nation, but I'm going to set the business up first. I can do that. The only thing I look to you all for help with is something that would actually, you know what? You don't have to do that. It's not your job, actually. I take that back. But I am going to continue running this channel as best I can, and I'm not trying to monetize it as long as I'm in this country, because the post won't even send me that code. So I can't go through AdSense. Plus, YouTube shows me what I would be collecting, and it's nothing. It is nothing, literally. Patreon's still up, and I'm going to be putting more on that, inshallah, because, well, they asked for it. But, that being said, I do want you all to think about ways that we can exploit this point of tension in between Sapphire and Zaddy. How we can come about, what can we do? How we can utilize that to our advantage. One more thing, and that is about the passports. In this point of tension and contention between them, I don't think that she'll be very successful soon right now convincing Zaddy to find some way to stop us from getting passports. But I do believe that as the electorate begins to put more Karens, Beckys, and Ambers in office, and Sapphires, that they won't have to even prevail upon politicians for this, that these measures will pass. I believe that this will happen over time. Black men, it is a good idea for you to get them early and to try to find other citizenships if you can. Get those done as well, so that in the event that the states don't allow you passports one day, you'll have another nation to which you can go to their embassies or consulates in the states, get those passports, and bounce. And it will be legal. Absolutely. This is what I want you all to be able to do. The other thing I'm going to ask you all is about the UBMTPs, or the BMTPs, Black Male Travelers Passports. And that is actually a passport that I have thought about us having one day. There's going to come a day when, just like currency now does not have to be regulated by only a government to be valid, as long as there are enough people willing to accept it as a medium of exchange. Once enough governments are willing to accept any passport as valid for entry in or between their nations, and valid identification, then we want to be in a position to be the first non-governmental body to come up with such a passport. Just like blockchain technology regulates the currencies, understand that a blockchain of reference for us could regulate such a passport to the point that certain governments would trust it. Now, I don't expect the U.S. to trust a passport that you can only get by being referred to by one of its original holders on the basis of being a black male that wants to leave the matrix. That's not going to happen. And I don't care if it does or not. But understand that the nations to which we are now going, if we are beneficial to these nations, I do believe that there will come a time when they say, okay, you know what? We actually will accept the BMTPs, the Black Male Travelers Passports. Because we know they're controlled. They're not just given out to everybody that applies. Even if it's not a governmental body that issues them, there is a central group of core members. And if somebody that has been able to secure a passport through knowing them vouches for somebody else's application, that person could get one. So we understand that it's through a chain of references. And therefore, okay, you know what? We in Brazil will take that passport. Okay, you know what? Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, there will probably come a day, the Philippines, there will probably come a day when these nations will take such. I don't know exactly when it'll happen, but I do understand that whenever it does, we are actually right now on track to be the first non-governmental body to be able to issue them. I have an idea to help this process along, but we'll talk about that later. And When I can get the merchandise up, then I'll be able to explain it better, inshallah. I hope that what I've said helps, and I thank you for listening. And as always, black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Thank you again for flying with Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. And we hope you continue jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off this mother cuss word. Justice forever.